Britney Spears' new memoir is almost out, and in the lead-up to its release, some bombshell revelations are coming to light. In an explosive excerpt from The Woman in Me, Spears reveals she became pregnant while dating fellow pop star Justin Timberlake, and got an abortion, News.com has learned. It was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a tragedy. I loved Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family together one day. This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated, Spears wrote, according to an excerpt published by People. But Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were way too young, Spears wrote. If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it. And yet Justin was so sure that he didn't want to be a father. The two dated from 1999 to 2002, a rep for Timberlake didn't respond to People's request for comment. To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life, Spears wrote. The star went on to become mother to two sons with ex-husband Kevin Federline, Sean Preston, now 18, and Jaden James, 17. Other bombshells in the book include an explanation as to why she shaved her head and acted out back in 2007, and describes how her father body-shamed her during her conservatorship. In the period before she was placed under a legal conservatorship in 2008, Spears was in the midst of her divorce from Federline, and paparazzi followed her everywhere as she became a staple of tabloid gossip. I'd been eyeballed so much growing up, I'd been looked up and down, had people telling me what they thought of my body, since I was a teenager. Shaving my head and acting out were my ways of pushing back, Spears, now 41, wrote in the book, according to an excerpt published by People. But under the conservatorship I was made to understand that those days were now over. I had to grow my hair out and get back into shape. I had to go to bed early and take whatever medication they told me to take, Spears said. The conservatorship granted her father, Jamie Spears, control over her finances, medical decisions and personal life. If I thought getting criticized about my body in the press was bad, it hurt even more for my own father. He repeatedly told me I looked fat and that I was going to have to do something about it, Spears wrote. I became a robot. But not just a robot, a sort of child robot. I had been so infantilized that I was losing pieces of what made me feel like myself, Spears wrote. The conservatorship stripped me of my womanhood, made me into a child. I became more of an entity than a person on stage. I had always felt music in my bones and my blood, they stole that from me. Although Spears released 4 albums and performed in a successful Las Vegas residency during the course of her 13-year conservatorship, she said the loss of control over her life sapped her creativity and made her feel like a shadow of herself. A years-long Free Britney campaign saw fans mobilize to support the star's repeated attempts to escape the conservatorship. Spears finally refused to perform until her father was removed as conservator and continued to fight to end the conservatorship. In court testimony in 2021, Spears alleged conservatorship abuse, including being drugged against her will and forced to perform, enriching her father, his lawyers, and everyone around her, even though she couldn't spend her own money as she chose. Conservatorship are typically reserved for the elderly or severely disabled, who are unable to make their own financial, legal or healthcare decisions. But some strange instances from Spears convinced him to keep the order in place until she got out of it last year. It makes me feel sick, Spears wrote. Think of how many male artists gambled all their money away, how many had substance abuse or mental health issues. No one tried to take away their control over their bodies and money. I didn't deserve what my family did to me. The conservatorship was finally ended in November 2021, and Spears regained control of her life and career shortly before her 40th birthday. The Woman in Me will be available in bookstores and online on October 24th. TMX contributed to this report.